would it feel if an airplane suddenly vanished from the sky after takeoff and then 37 years later was seen landing at an airport again? You may not believe this story, but that is exactly what supposedly happened to Flight 914. This was no ordinary incident. It was a mystery that shocked the entire world. We are talking about the Douglas DC-4 Pan American Flight 914, which departed from New York for Miami on July 2nd, 1955. However, it never reached its destination. It was 7 in the morning. Crowds were gradually gathering at New York's LaGuardia Airport. Passengers were busy boarding. Some were preparing to get on the plane, while others were chatting outside. There were 57 passengers and 4 crew members on board, and everything seemed perfectly normal. The aircraft was to be flown by Captain C.G. Taylor, who was already in his seat, checking all systems. It was supposed to be a short and routine flight to Miami, Florida, expected to arrive within 3 hours. The weather was clear, the aircraft had no issues, and everything was under control. At exactly 9:55 a.m., the flight took off. Within minutes, it left New York's skyscrapers behind and headed over the Atlantic Ocean. The passengers were relaxed. Some looked out the windows, some read newspapers, and others chatted excitedly about arriving in Miami. None of them knew that their lives were about to change forever. At 10:12 a.m., New York Air Traffic Control confirmed that Flight 914 was on the correct course. Everything appeared normal. But at 10:15 a.m., something strange happened. Flight 914 suddenly disappeared from the radar screen. It was as if the aircraft had vanished into thin air. Air traffic controllers were shocked. They immediately attempted to contact the plane. Flight 914, do you read us? No response. Flight 914, please respond. Still nothing. They continued trying again and again, but there was no answer from Flight 914. Panic spread throughout New York Air Traffic Control. At first, officials suspected a technical malfunction. However, when they checked other flights, everything else was operating normally. Only Flight 914 was missing. Miami Air Traffic Control was immediately informed that Flight 914 had disappeared from radar. By now, the aircraft should have reached its destination, but it had not arrived. A massive search operation was launched. Naval forces searched the ocean for wreckage. Other airlines were contacted and asked whether they had seen anything unusual in the sky, but no trace of the aircraft was found. After extensive searches yielded nothing, Pan American Airways released a statement announcing that Flight 914, carrying 57 passengers and 4 crew members, had mysteriously disappeared. They stated that every possible location had been searched, but no wreckage had been found. Eventually, the incident was classified as a tragic accident. But a question remained. Did the aircraft really crash, or had it somehow become trapped in another time and place? No one had an answer. Years passed. People gradually forgot about Flight 914. Then, 37 years later, in 1992, something happened that seemed impossible. On September 21st, 1992, at Caracas Airport in Venezuela, an event occurred that stunned everyone present. The airport's air traffic controllers were carrying out their routine duties when an unidentified aircraft suddenly appeared on radar. The officer on duty, Juan de la Corte, focused on the screen and noticed the aircraft approaching Caracas. However, there was no flight information for it. He immediately called his colleagues and asked what aircraft it was. After investigating, they discovered something astonishing. The aircraft was not a modern plane. It was a Douglas DC-4 from the 1950s. Confusion spread through the control tower. Controllers immediately contacted the aircraft. Unidentified aircraft, please identify yourself. For a few moments, there was silence. Then a broken voice came over the radio. This is Pan American Flight 914 from New York to Miami. Have we arrived in Miami? The words left everyone speechless. With trembling voices, the controllers replied, "This is not Miami. You are at Caracas Airport, Venezuela." The aircraft was over 2,200 kilometers away from its intended destination. Even more shocking, the pilot seemed completely unaware that it was now 1992. When he learned he was not in Miami, but in Caracas, he became visibly distressed and requested permission to land. Permission was granted immediately. The aircraft landed safely. But as soon as it touched down, the pilot noticed something strange. The other aircraft looked far more modern than anything he had ever seen. The buildings and even the people around the airport appeared unfamiliar. The airport staff felt the same way. Everyone stared at the old aircraft in disbelief. It looked as though a relic from another era had suddenly appeared. When the pilot spoke with airport officials, he was informed that the year was 1992. He was stunned. He could not believe that the aircraft he was flying had supposedly taken off in 1955, 37 years earlier. Moments later, he restarted the engines and prepared for departure. As he was getting ready to leave, a piece of paper reportedly fell from a file he was holding. The aircraft then took off again. Airport personnel attempted to stop it, but the captain ignored them. Controllers tried tracking the aircraft on radar. Within seconds, it vanished once more. No one knows where Flight 914 went. It never arrived in Miami, and none of its passengers were ever found. The piece of paper that reportedly fell from the pilot's file was said to be a 1955 calendar. Many people cited this as proof that the story was real. But the question remains, if this actually happened, where was the aircraft for 37 years? The story sounds like science fiction. Some people believe it is completely true. Others believe it is nothing more than a fictional tale. The mystery of Flight 914 has fascinated people for decades. Numerous stories and alleged witnesses have been linked to it, but no definitive evidence has ever been found. According to some reports, the story first appeared in the 1980s in an American tabloid newspaper. Many researchers claim the entire story was fabricated and that there are no official records supporting it. Some experts even argue that Flight 914 never existed and that no such event was ever recorded at Caracas Airport. So where did this story come from? Was it simply a hoax that became more mysterious over time? Or is the truth hidden away in some secret file? No one knows for certain, but one thing is clear. The mystery of Flight 914 continues to fascinate people today, and will probably continue to do so in the future. What do you think? Will Flight 914 ever return again, just as it supposedly did in 1992 after disappearing for 37 years? Or is it nothing more than an urban legend? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And for more interesting and informative stories like this, subscribe to Bapari Media. Thank you for watching.